For the order, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank everyone for their attendance. If the minutes can reflect the role of the various trustees and staff, let's move on to item 3. Entertain a motion for the approval of the 5-6 Village Board meeting minutes and file the 325 Joint Library Board, the 401 Finance Committee, the 4-8 Board of Public Works, Information Meeting, the 4-8 Board of Public Works, 5-6 Special Board of Public Works meeting minutes as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second, as always. Any comments, questions, clarifications on the minutes?
I have one clarification. The minutes from the village board meeting, May 6th, the very last page when we were discussing the bills, there's a small paragraph there that talked about what I said. And actually, what I said was, I questioned the continued practice of using the clothing allowance account for purchasing weapons and anything equipment related. It didn't really have anything to do with buyback or anything like that.
Did you mean that that should not be allowed?
That is not what I said. I mean, I didn't mention anything about buyback. I didn't say anything like this.
But you talked about the weapon. You talked about the...
I talked about using the account to buy a weapon.
Right.
I said nothing about the buyback. She did believe that should be allowed, which is not accurate.
So if you took out buyback and added not in front of should.
Is that what?
I noted the clothing allowance is being used to purchase weapons. I believe that should not be allowed. How's that?
That would work?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was what I heard.
Yeah,
Great.
Any other corrections or additions? Okay, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Anybody in the audience wishing to be heard on a non-agenda item? Okay. Let's move on to item 5. Any items have been distributed in the normal fashion. Let's move on to item 6. Resolutions, ordinance, action items. Item A is the resolution regarding the district number 2 termination. Paul?
Sure. TID 2 has to close by June 3rd, 2019. And that's why this is in front of you tonight. What this will do will be close the TID, notify the Department of Revenue. The 1/1/19 assessment will stand for the 2020 budget. So as of 1/1/2020, the values of the property will be placed on the general tax roll. And right now, based on the last information I have, it's about $23.5 million that will be placed on the general tax roll. And the village will be able to utilize a formula by the state, which right now approximately $75,000 of additional tax levy will be allowed for tax year 2020 or the 2021 budget.
All right, thank you. Previous meeting, you said that did an informational stating that you were going to do that back to the village board for approval of this resolution, so I'll take an offer, motion, and a second.
I'll offer.
Motion. Second.
Offer, motion, second. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That resolution passes. Item B, report of the Public Safety Committee. We have one item, and that is an ordinance, a motion to approve the ordinance to modify the no parking ordinance 10.36010 to 1000 Badger Circle driveway on north side of Badger Circle, west from the driveway to the intersection of Cheyenne Avenue, and to add to the no parking ordinance 10.36010 that the 1000 Badger Circle driveway on south side of Badger Circle, west from the driveway to the intersection of Cheyenne Avenue be approved.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And that was communicated, and they are okay with that change. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item C is a report of the Finance Committee. We have one item, and that item was discussed somewhat in length at the Finance Committee, and that's the motion to accept the comprehensive annual financial report for the year ending December 31st, 2018 be approved.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and second. It was a fairly glowing report, but Paul, anything you wish to add?
No, it's a clean audit, there were no driven adjustments, and I would like to offer thanks to the accountant, Monica Stern, for all the work she put into making it possible.
Okay, well, let's make sure we do that then. All right. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item D is the report of the Board of Public Works. We have 3 items. A motion to approve the adaptive management for the WPDES permit compliance plan be approved. I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
For the purposes of the press, Amber, you want to give us a high level?
Sure, that is our DNR permit for the wastewater treatment plant, and this will be for our permit compliance going into the year 2020 to meet new DNR regulations.
Okay, questions for Amber? Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 2 is a motion to accept the proposal from Water Well Solutions of Oconomowoc for well pumping equipment and drill hole rehab at well 7, project pricing not to exceed the cost of $45,132 be approved.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Motion second, Amber?
Sure, so this is just standard rehab for one of our wells that is due for rehab. It was a budgeted item and is within budget.
Okay, questions for Amber? Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 3 is a motion to approve a contract with USIC Locating Services LLC beginning June 1st, 2019, subject to attorney review be approved.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And Amber?
Sure, so it has been reviewed by the village attorney. We're on about our second draft from last week, but we are in final comments, just waiting for a final clean version from USIC.
Okay, comments, questions for Amber?
I have one. Is this what was discussed in regards to some, they were very strict with many of their,
Sure.
they didn't want to bend, there were not a lot of areas to really kind of fine tune on our end, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so Attorney Herbrand had quite a few issues that we worked through. They did change their terms on some of the things he was concerned about. There were some things that they were willing to change if we wanted to up our price. So we had to kind of weigh the risk versus the cost to figure out where we wanted to land. But this is only for the rest of this year, and we can terminate the contract with I believe it's a 30-day notice. So if we decide that we can't live with any of the terms once we get going, we can always have that choice.
Other questions? Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 7, Department and Officers Reports. We have, again, the representation from staff. Any questions, comments, any feedback?
I just had a question for Jesse. Can you update the board on the status of trustee Meineke's lawsuit against you and the fire chief? Is there any information about that?
All I know is the schedule has been set. I have not been a part of any proceedings at all, but I did receive a letter that a schedule has been set, and once I get notification of further action, I ask if there is any update, and that's what I have right now.
And then you'll update the board accordingly?
As I'm able to, I'm really looking at guidance from legal counsel.
Okay.
Can I add something? First of all, that should really be a closed session item because it's legal, correct? And I guess my other, you don't have to, the other thing is that it's not a lawsuit against them. It's a writ of mandamus action to try and get the documents that they are withholding. There's a big distinction there. So stop throwing around this whole lawsuit against them because you're being inaccurate in your statements.
I believe this is
I don't
the
care.
only time I've asked for it.
All right,
Yeah, but stop throwing it around as a lawsuit.
all right, let's be respectful to
It's in
each
court.
other.
Well,
Okay, no, everybody. That goes for the whole board. We talked about this after the election. The idea is to be respectful of each other's and everybody's opinions. If we have legal here, if we cross a boundary, my expectation is that you call that out. If we don't, or if you think that there's something we need to be aware of, that's your opportunity. So, any other updates for staff or from staff?
Yeah, Jesse, I would like to see something put on a future agenda to go through the employee handbook.
Certainly,
Because specifically page 2 is, yeah.
Actually, interestingly enough, that you've made that request, Trustee Meineke, is that is actually part of my work plan for this year is to update. The last time our employee manual had any sort of comprehensive update to it was 2010, 2011, give or take, possibly 2012. Either way, there's definitely been actions in court cases in between then and now, so it is time. So that is part of my work plan, and absolutely that will be coming forward.
Okay. Anything else? All right, let's move on to item 8, licenses. We have a list of people and their places of employment. Operator's license.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. We'll move on to item 9, report of bills. Entertain a motion for approval of village expenditure, $639,489.81.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, comments on the bills?
Yes, I'm on page 1 of first section, that Aurora Healthcare, Aurora EAP. What that has to do with?
That's the employee assistance program, there's a quarterly fee for that.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
I have 2.
Okay.
The first batch, page 8, police officer Mahmoud, it's just in regards to the assignment of the accounts for the uniform. So I object to that. It's assignment supplies versus uniform. And in the second group, the same kind of charge, page 2, from Gall's company, uniform allowance, and it's a headlamp. So those are my only 2.
Probably best that chief responds, but I believe it's, for example, Officer Manon, I believe is the bicycle officer, so they
Right.
buy gear for riding bikes, or they're assigned. Something else at the normal course of duties, they are provided the materials or the clothing to participate.
Okay, other questions on the bills? Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Show one nay. Item 10, motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. So, let's talk. You might catch your cat.